Gun. Marie Fredriksson, known as Marie Fredriksson, is a Swedish pop singer-songwriter and pianist, best known for forming one half of the pop-rock duo Roxette, which she created together with Per Gessle in 1986. She and Gessle achieved international success from the late 1980s to the early 1990s with a total of 6 top 10 US hit songs such as It Must Have Been Love, Listen to Your Heart, The Look, Joyride, and Dangerous. In 2002, after fainting at home, she was diagnosed with cancer of the brain. During her rehabilitation, she continued to make music, resulting in the album The Change. She later reunited with Gessle to record more Roxette albums and embarked on worldwide tours. Early life. Marie Fredriksson, who was born in SSJA paragraph, was the youngest of 5 children. The family later moved to the small Swedish town of Ljungby. Being poor, both parents were forced to work, often leaving the children on their own. Together with her siblings or neighborhood children, Fredriksson began to play music and sing. She was often asked by her mother to perform in front of friends who were impressed by her Olivia Newton-John-like singing voice. Her interest grew stronger in her teens as she discovered artists such as Joni Mitchell, The Beatles and Deep Purple. At 17, Fredriksson enrolled in a music college and performed in local theatre. However, she found it incredibly boring, instead longing for the thrill of an audience. As she put it, I wanted to perform. I'm a performer. She became involved in theatre, and after moving to the town of Halmstad, she found herself involved in the local music scene. Joining her boyfriend Stefan's band Stroll, he played local gigs and even recorded a single. After that group split, Marie and a new boyfriend, Martin Sternhevsvad, performed as Mama's Barn. They recorded one album together. Per Gessle, lead singer of the famous Swedish group Reunited, shared a rehearsal studio with Fredriksson, and they became friends. Per believed Fredriksson was far too talented to be hiding behind keyboards in local pub bands and got her an audition with his producer, Lars Lindbom, who was extremely well known in Sweden. Lars was suitably impressed with her voice and offered her a contract. Going solo, Het Vinden Dans John Varjen, Lars Lindbom asked Fredriksson to record a duet with him, Zajen na Currency Ra Nu, which led to her joining his group the Lars Lindbom Band. Gessle started to encourage her to start a solo career, but she was too nervous and lacked confidence. Fredriksson finally accepted, and she recorded her first solo album, Het Vind, produced by Lindbom. En Dofte Car Currency RLEK was the first single. Lindbom, Fredriksson, Per Gessle and Mats MP Persson started a new band called Spa Currency NNANDEO Star. That same year, Fredriksson and Lindbom went to the Canary Islands to write songs for Marie's second solo album. They returned to Sweden for the recording. The album was released in 1986, under the name Dans John Varjen. Den Bar Currency Star Dagen, and Silveride in Hand were released as singles, and she toured as a solo artist. Start of Roxette and Efter Stormen. Gessle and Fredriksson had talked about working together for many years. Fredriksson had done backing vocal work for Gessle's band Reunited, and they had worked together on Spa Currency NNANDEO Star and other projects, including an attempt by Reunited to release an English-language album in America. Fredriksson's career was soaring in Sweden, but Gessle, a former boy band member whose solo career was not doing as well. Friends and people in the industry were skeptical towards the idea of Marie collaborating with Gessle. His idea was to form a duo, singing in English, and try to have some success in Europe. However, during the 1980s, it was uncommon for Swedish artists to perform in English. In 1986, she decided to team up with Gessle under the name Roxette, the name Reunited had used when they tried to release their album The Heartland Café copyright in the US. Their first single Never Ending Love was a hit in Sweden, and Roxette's album Pearls of Passion breathed new life into Per's flagging career, and cemented Marie as a major artist. After the 1987 Rock Runt Riket Swedish concert tour with Roxette, she recorded her third solo album Efter Stormen. In February 1989, she recorded a song for a TV series called Spava Paragraph Gar. Her song, the title theme of the show, became one of her most beloved and best-known songs. Fredriksson was now one of the most well-known singers in Sweden. Roxette's international success. In 1988, Roxette went back to the studio and recorded a second album, Look Sharp, which once again returned them to the charts in Sweden. However, Roxette then had an unexpected #1 hit in the USA with The Look in April 1989. Almost overnight, Fredriksson and Gessle were catapulted from being minor celebrities in Sweden to major artists internationally who suddenly found themselves traveling all over the world, selling millions of records, and receiving awards. Look Sharp was a massive hit, producing 2 US #1 hits including Listen to Your Heart in November 1989. A third song from the Look Sharp album, Dangerous, spent 2 weeks at the #2 spot in February 1990. In 1990, Gessle was approached by Touchstone Pictures to write a song for the upcoming film Pretty Woman. As he did not have time to create a new song, he re-edited an old Christmas song and gave them It Must Have Been Love. The song was included in the movie, topped the music charts for 2 weeks in June 1990 in America and became one of Roxette's best-selling and most well-known songs. In 1991, a third album, Joyride, was released which gave them another #1 hit in the US in May 1991 while another song, Fading Like a Flower, reached the #2 spot in the US music markets in July 1991. They followed it up with a major Join the Joyride World Tour in over 100 cities during 1991 and 92. However, after the tour, Roxette's future songs failed to enter the US top 10 list again, whereas in Europe and South America, Roxette continued their international success with gold and platinum albums until the beginning of the new millennium. Further solo albums, Marriage and Family. In 1992, Fredriksson returned to her solo career, recording the soul-searching Den Star Currency Sen. The album was her musical self-portrait and was written like a diary, containing very personal songs about her life, feelings and relationships. It mirrors a 4 to 5 year period of my life, said Marie about the album. It was a crisis, with hellish side effects. But I'm glad I went through it. While touring in Australia in 1992 to promote Joyride, Fredriksson met Michael Bolio's, a Swedish singer-songwriter, pianist and guitarist. They became engaged. Fredriksson gave birth to a daughter Ines Josephine on April 29, 1993, and married Bolio's in May 1994. In 1996, she recorded a ballad album in Spanish with Roxette and a new solo album Reunited Son Vallenar. Her second child Oscar Michael, was born on November 26, 1996. In 1998 and 1999, Fredriksson worked with Gessle on the new Roxette album Have a Nice Day. In 2000 Fredriksson released a greatest hits album under the title Äntligen Euro Marie Fredriksson's Bar Currency Star 1984 Euro 2000, followed by a summer tour, later released as a live CD-DVD package called Äntligen Euro Sommarturné Copyright, which has sold more than 350,000 albums. 2 more singles were released from the album, Äntligen, and Det som var nu. She released all her albums in a box set, Car Currency Rockens Guld, which featured previously unreleased songs as well as new packaging. Cancer. On September 11, 2002, Fredriksson fainted in her bathroom, hitting her head and receiving a concussion. Scans indicated that Fredriksson had a brain tumor in the back of her head. The diagnosis led to the cancellation of Roxette's planned performance at the 2002 Night of the Proms concert series. After waiting several weeks for the concussion to subside, she underwent successful surgery to remove the tumor. It was malignant and she endured months of chemotherapy and radiation treatments. She had difficulties reading, writing and counting for a period of time, and is now blind in her right eye. In January 2003, Roxette were awarded the Royal Medal with Blue Ribbon by King of Sweden Carl Gustaf XVI. The ceremony was the first event at which Fredriksson appeared after her operation. This was one of very few public appearances she made during her illness. She withdrew from the public eye for almost 2 years. On October 21, 2005, Fredriksson stated, Unregistered trademark. Has been 3 very difficult years, but in an interview with Jens Peterson published in Aftonbladet, Fredriksson says she has won her fight against cancer. Unregistered trademark. I'm healthy, she says. Unregistered trademark. I'm not receiving treatment anymore. Return to music. About 6 months after Fredriksson's cancer diagnosis, she and her husband Michael Bolios began to work on her first ever English solo album. She called the album The Change, which entered the Swedish chart at number 1. The first single, Second Chance, entered the Swedish singles chart at number 1. Soon after its release, The Change achieved gold status in Sweden, according to IFPI. In conjunction with the release of The Change, Fredriksson started a new publishing company together with Bolios. Mary J Music was mainly created as a home for Marie's solo albums, states the label's website, but as the musical collaboration between Marie and Michael continues and expands, don't be surprised if you find other exciting projects with some of their musical friends released on this label. During her illness, Fredriksson rediscovered her love of drawing. Although she could no longer read or write, drawing was one thing she could still do, and she found a real passion for it. She had always been very private about her artwork, but for the first time she exhibited a collection of her drawings in a gallery show entitled After the Change. The vernissage at the Dr. Glas Gallery in Kungsträdgården CDGANRDEN featured 24 of her charcoal drawings and ran from 21 October 30, 2005. Later she released a book, After the Change, featuring reprints of all 24 sketches. In 2006, Fredriksson returned with a new CD of Swedish cover songs called Min Barkarency Ste Varkarency in February. The first single released from this cover album was the song Samara Currency NG by Swedish artist John Holm. Ingen kommer undan Politiken was the second single outtake off the album later that year. Roxette Reunion. On October 23, 2009, Fredriksson performed with Gessle as Roxette at the night of the proms. This was only the second Roxette performance since the cancer treatment. The first one took place on May 7, 2009 in the Melkweg in Amsterdam during Gessle's European tour. In 2010 Roxette returned with a mini-Euro tour. After the successful concerts, the band announced the first full Roxette World Tour in 15 years, which began in March 2011. A new Roxette single She's Got Nothing On was released in January 2011, and the new Roxette album Charm School was released on February 11, 2011. Because of the worldwide success of Charm School, Roxette continued their world tour throughout 2012. In March 2012, Roxette's new album Traveling was released, coinciding with the new music video and single, It's Possible. In 2013 she released another solo album, New Discography. This is a listing of releases by Marie Fredriksson. Albums compilation albums, joint albums. Singles. See also, List of Swedes in music. References. External links, official website, mariefredriksson.net, marie-fredriksson.com, official Roxette website, Marie Fredriksson, Marie Fredriksson on Europop Music U, Marie Fredriksson discography at Music Brains.